Welcome everyone to the land down under. It's the third race in the Formula One 2022 season. It's time for the Australian Grand Prix. It's down in Melbourne today. It's 21 degrees, a clear, sunny day. So let's go have a look at the track. It's a 5.2 kilometer circuit here with 3 DRS zones and 14 turns, 9 to the right and 5 to the left. There have been some changes to turn 6 and then turn 9 and 10 being completely removed. That chicane being turned into a long sweeping right and left-hander. So let's hand it over to Jack Marshall for the grid.
Okay, so we had a great qualifying yesterday afternoon with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz locking out the front of the grid. It's great for Ferrari, showing off their pace in qualifying. Next we have Perez in P3 representing the Red Bull, and then Hamilton in P4. Then we have Hamilton's rival last year, Verstappen, and Hamilton's new teammate Russell in P6. Best of the rest, Norris with Alonso in 8th, Magnussen in 9th, Ricciardo in 10th, rounding off the top 10. Then we have Mick Schumacher in 11, Esteban Ocon in 12 with Bottas in 13, Gasly in 14, and Kevin King and Yuki Tsunoda behind them. Zhou Guanyu and Vettel in P17 and 18, and then in the back of the grid, rounding it off, we have Lance Stroll and Alex Albon. Back to you, Sam.
Right, I believe the formation lap is just about to start, so let's head down to the grid. You know, Ferrari's pace has been quite good this year, taking that massive step up from last year and then an even bigger step up from 2020 where they were like towards the back of the grid. And, finally becoming title challengers again.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's
Ferrari doing absolutely great this season, And it's just great to see them do well. Here we see the Cyber Williams, which is of course what Bottas saw last year.
Yeah, good one, Jack. Right, I'm sure Bottas would have really liked to remember that, and I'm sure Russell would have very much liked to remember that as well. But I believe we're now heading towards the formation lap as the red lights go out and we see the two Ferraris pulling away. I gotta say, I'm a bit of a Ferrari fan. I'm very happy at seeing this.
Yeah, I mean, they've produced a great car this season, and it's just the pace is amazing, but I think the reliability is just not there. Leclerc had engine troubles in Bahrain and they had to retire in Saudi.
Yeah, only 2 races in, already suffering an engine failure. That's not good for your reliability. I'm really hoping they will have fixed that. Because Leclerc won't be very happy with that.
And I wonder if that will affect them in the race, because at the back of Leclerc's mind, he must be thinking not to push it and just trying to rest it to the finish line.
Yeah, and I believe the last couple of cars are lining up on the grid now. Yep, we're just coming to see the last few cars just peeling on to the start of the grid. So while we wait for the 5 red lights to go out, here we go. It's the 5 red lights for the 2022 Australian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go. Leclerc and Sainz both getting pretty good starts. Sainz coming over to cover off Sergio Perez, and Leclerc going to the right and staying ahead of his teammate Carlos Sainz, and Leclerc and Sainz both staying in P1 and 2, and Russell I think has stayed in his same position, but Lewis Hamilton has lost a position to Lando Norris, and Lewis Hamilton's lost another position to Fernando Alonso.
Lewis Hamilton starting in 4th place, jumped down to 7th. That's not great for him. Max Verstappen and Lando Norris jumping him. Alonso trying, but failing as Lewis Hamilton managed to keep him behind him. That is great for Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. Not great for Lewis Hamilton.
No, it's a bad start from the Mercedes driver. 7-time world champion. He will...
Here we have Max Verstappen going on George Russell, trying to make the moves. They're going down the inside. Will he keep behind him? And he does. That is great by Max Verstappen, jumping into 4th place and keeping the Mercedes behind him.
And here we see Carlos Sainz trying to go for a move down the inside of Charles Leclerc. Will he make it stick? No, I don't think he will. And that's Perez now trying to come along the inside of Carlos Sainz. But no, the 2 Ferraris just staying together like a pack, just trying to pull away from everyone else.
Was that a wise move by Carlos Sainz trying to go for his teammate? Has that compromised both their race and let Perez come up behind them?
Yeah, but I think a good strategy for Ferrari would just try and pull away, use Charles' pace, and then use Carlos to just try and stick with him, so they can both pull away from the rest of the grid there.
Yeah, using Carlos Sainz as the buffer, because I think Ferrari just want to get on the front of the grid. They missed out because of Charles Leclerc's engine troubles in Saudi. I think they'll just be focused on trying to stay ahead, try to have a clean race.
Yes, and even though Sainz won in Bahrain, they weren't even on the podium in Saudi Arabia. I'm sure they'll be looking to bounce back and get back on that top step, and a 1-2 is exactly how you want to do that.
Yeah, Red Bull is 30 points ahead in the championship. That'll be what they're definitely focused on. And here we see Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz pulling away a bit. Sergio Perez 0.8 behind them, still in DRS, but DRS hasn't been activated yet, so
yes.
they still have time to pull away.
Yep, so in just the next few corners, all they have to do is just pull about a tenth and a half from Sergio Perez, and then he'll be out of DRS range, and they can just pull away, and Leclerc can just use his pace, and Sainz can use the DRS from Leclerc to try and help him pull away as well.
Yeah, if we look back down the grid, we can see Kevin King jumping Pierre Gasly coming up into 14th. We also have Lewis Hamilton, who dropped down to 7th. We have DRS enabled now, which allowed Perez to gain on the two Ferraris, and will help his teammate, who's 0.5 behind him.
Yeah, and Perez, is still within that DRS range. They haven't managed to pull that gap quite yet. And actually, Sainz, I believe, is actually losing a bit of time to Charles Leclerc. He's pulling away a little bit, having just set the fastest lap of the race at the end of lap 2 there.
Yeah. I mean, it really it becomes a tyre nursing problem at this point. How long can you make those tyres last?
Yeah, and with Ferrari's tyre troubles over the last few races, they have to try and nurse these tyres to the end. They're in a good position for the 1-2, but they got to see if they can try and maintain that gap and that advantage they have over everyone. And actually, Perez now is still losing time to Carlos Sainz. Almost a second away, even though he's within DRS. He's now over a second behind Carlos Sainz as they go towards the last couple of corners to start lap 4.
Here we have an onboard with Carlos Sainz, who's pulling away from the two Red Bulls. I mean, the Red Bulls are ferocious though. Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, you just have to look at Abu Dhabi last year.
Yeah, Perez being aptly named the Mexican Minister of Defense.
Yes, and let's just see if those skills can transfer into attacking Carlos Sainz and trying to grab that position from him. Yeah,
and actually Perez is gaining on Carlos Sainz there with which I've only just noticed, that little chili on his helmet, because he is known as the chili, as the smooth operator. And let's see if he can try and pull away from those two bulls.
And it really is a fight between the Red Bulls and the Ferraris. George Russell dropping to 1.8 behind Max Verstappen in P4.
Yeah, and even though Mercedes is still staying on the pace of everyone else a little bit, they as I said last race, they have not really been they're not on top of these regulations. They definitely haven't had the advantage that Ferrari and Red Bull have had.
Yeah, Mercedes has definitely dropped down this year. We've seen it in Bahrain and Saudi, and from the performances in qualifying and starting this race, I know he seems to exemplify those qualities.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton in P7, you'd expect him normally to be fighting at the very, very top, getting pole positions, P2s, podiums pretty much every race. You'd expect him to be on top of his game, but here he is, like in the midfield.
Absolutely dominating until now. He's P7, which won't be great for him. He's trying to go on Lando Norris, but doesn't seem to be able to take that position back that Lando took from at the start of the race. And
Charles Leclerc, I believe, is actually beginning to pull away from Carlos Sainz. He was 0.4 a couple of laps ago. He's now 0.5, and he was 0.7 coming out of the final corner. So that DRS has helped him a little bit. But yeah, Carlos Sainz losing time to Charles Leclerc.
I imagine that's also that Carlos doesn't want to stay too close, and he wants to kind of nurse his tyres and doesn't get stuck in the slipstream, which will absolutely rip his tyres apart.
Yeah, but you also don't want to get too far back, because then if he gets within, if he leaves that 1 second gap, he's a sitting duck for those Red Bulls.
That is precisely true, and I feel like Carlos Sainz wanting to make that balance right now, as we are in the lap 5, where pitting starts to become the question.
Yeah, I think I would hope that either one of the Ferraris either pits at the end of this lap or at the end of the next lap, so they can try and get the undercut on the Red Bulls, because Red Bull always do like to undercut, and that's a strategy they do quite like to do, to try and outsmart their rivals, to try and get a really fast lap on their outlap, and try and get past their rivals.
The only question is which one of them will be the one to undercut, and which one will slow down the Red Bulls. neither one of them will want to do it, but I feel like they'll have to make the decision soon about which driver they prioritize and which driver stays behind to try and slow down the Red Bulls.
I would think they'd pit Leclerc first, because Carlos already, he has caught, as I was saying, he's losing time to Charles Leclerc, but he's actually caught a bit back up to him again. I would think that they'd pit Leclerc first, so he can have a good outlap, and Sainz can hold back the Red Bulls while Leclerc has his outlap, and then once everyone else pits, bada bing, bada boom, you got Leclerc back in the lead with an even bigger advantage than he had before.
Yeah, and it seems all the runners are going for the soft medium strategy here, or though some may go to the soft hard strategy.
Yeah, with a 15 lap race, I don't see why you'd want to go to the hard compound tires, but some teams consider
some teams may consider that the more solid compound would be maybe the better choice in this type of race.
Yeah, just to try and absolutely rip out their tires so they can just go onto the hard compound just to be safe so they can get to the end. Because some teams are just not really struggling with tyre wear, like Mercedes is quite struggling with tyre warm up as well.
Yeah. And I mean, we've already touched on this point, but Charles Leclerc has had 2 mechanical problems the last 2 races. Oh, and now he pits.
Charles Leclerc coming into the pits. And I believe that was one of the Red Bulls. I think that's Max Verstappen.
Yes,
Max Verstappen coming into the pits.
The Red Bulls playing the cards Max Verstappen's hand.
2.8 for Charles Leclerc, and for Max Verstappen, I don't
quite know Max Verstappen, but he's right behind that Ferrari. It'll be a great fight coming out of the pits. Both of them trying to warm up their tyres. And Charles Leclerc's gone to a hard strategy.
Charles Leclerc, coming out of the pit, Charles Leclerc and Yuki Tsunoda have made contact, and Tsunoda has lost his front end plate. Oh, that's got to be bad news for Yuki Tsunoda.
It's got to be bad news, and I wonder if there's any damage for the Ferrari as well, because now he's going to try and nurse those tyres after kind of getting out of shape with that collision.
Yeah, and as I was saying, Ferrari struggling with tyre degradation. They have gone to that soft hard strategy. Maybe they're trying to just push their tyres as hard as they can, and they've just decided to go to the hards because they thought that's their best bet of winning.
Maybe that's the case, but I just don't understand that. I mean, did they run out of medium tyres or something?
I don't know. Surely mediums could last you 10 laps, but
I'm simply baffled. We got Sebastian Vettel behind Charles Leclerc, separating him and Max Verstappen. It is and Charles Leclerc's going on the outside of Yuki Tsunoda, and he sticks that move. That's simply the Ferrari outclassing AlphaTauri.
Yeah, no, it's just that overall pace of Charles Leclerc, and Yuki Tsunoda now holding up the rest of the grid, and that Yuki Tsunoda coming into the pits. He'll be coming in not only to change his tyres, but to change his front end plate as well.
Yeah, I wonder if that single lap of Verstappen being between those 2 cars is kind of...
and Leclerc's coming out behind Perez.
That is great for Red Bull. Perez can be holding Leclerc behind, and Verstappen goes around the outside of Leclerc. Will he stick it? No.
And Leclerc's trying to go around the outside of Perez.
This is a 3-way battle for P2 here. Carlos Sainz being way ahead of them, and Leclerc sticks it in front.
Yeah, and it will be a battle for P1 because Sainz, I believe, hasn't pitted yet. Oh no, he has.
He has pitted.
He has pitted.
This is absolutely great for Ferrari. I wonder if Perez kind of stunted Verstappen going around the outside. Oh, and Sergio Perez is on the inside of Charles Leclerc going around the slow corner. And I think he stick that ahead. He's going on the inside. Will Charles Leclerc do a switchback? No, he will not. And he is Sergio Perez.
Does he have the DRS though?
Oh, in a second. Does he have the DRS?
I think he does. Yes, he does. Charles Leclerc
have the DRS, but so does Max Verstappen. But they don't make a move there. I think just Charles Leclerc's got the hard tyres. He can be patient. He can wait. He can wait until Sergio Perez makes a mistake and gain that position back.
Yeah, but I believe those Red Bulls are on the medium compounded tyre, so I think they'll be able to push a bit harder and lean on their tyres a bit more.
That is true. I think Charles Leclerc will be definitely leaning in on that DRS that'll need to keep up. But we're just going to look. Carlos Sainz, the pitting strategy for Ferrari, their strategy's gone great this race.
Yeah, I think Leclerc, Perez, and Verstappen all getting kind of caught up in the midfield there, and Sainz has just gapped them all.
Yeah, that is indeed true, and I think Sergio Perez is just trying to get out of get Charles Leclerc out of his DRS range.
Yeah, and I believe Charles Leclerc is just trying to stick in there, but I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to stay there while Perez is on the mediums and Leclerc is on the hard tires.
Yes, this is a really close race. The Red Bulls and the Ferraris fighting for that podium position. The P2 and P3 with Carlos Sainz far ahead in P1. This may be Carlos Sainz's first win.
No, he won in Bahrain, remember?
That is true, he won in Bahrain. Forgetting that.
Carlos Sainz's second win.
Carlos Sainz's second win of the season if he can stick it out. Though we shouldn't talk yet because Ferrari's engine problems have been stalking them this entire season. We shouldn't think ahead.
We are blessed with the infamous commentator's curse. So if we ever say anything good about a driver,
we probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
And here we have Verstappen who's right behind Charles Leclerc in his slipstream, hugging his rear. And here we have Charles Leclerc gets DRS, so Verstappen can't make a move yet. But I feel like Verstappen just has to bide his time, wait until Charles Leclerc gets out of his range, and Sergio Perez, Verstappen's teammate, can zoom ahead of him on the medium tires.
And Max Verstappen just trying to stay still behind Charles Leclerc. I'm going to be honest, I kind of zoned out a little bit there while you were talking, so you can keep commentating for a bit if you want while I try and zone back in.
Here we have we're watching Max Verstappen coming behind Charles Leclerc. They're fighting for P3. It's a intense fight between the Ferraris and the Red Bulls, trying to scrap for those podium positions. Behind them we got George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, P5 and P6.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton making up that place finally against Lando Norris. They're actually gaining on Carlos Sainz. You know, it was it's a slow car. Is that I believe that's Alex Albon.
Albon going
he's slow. Yes, that's Alex Albon, I believe, and he is out of this race.
Do we have a problem? Did you see that? Shot straight.
Okay, right. Yeah, okay.
Bouncing.
That's Alex Albon out of this race.
I wonder, it's yellow flag now. I wonder if there'll be a safety car, a virtual safety car, if there's enough time in the race left or one.
I believe there will be. I'm not sure if there will be there's enough time for a safety car. I don't know if there will be because he wasn't really in a dangerous place on track because he was away from the racing line there. So
that is true. We can see during this yellow flag though, Charles Leclerc is lost DRS with Sergio Perez, even though he can't get DRS during the yellow flag. That will mean though that it'll be hard for him to regain it, and he'll be at the mercy of Max Verstappen, who softer tyres, and of course Max Verstappen is one of the most aggressive drivers on the grid. We have to all agree.
Yes, and Max Verstappen, as you say that, now less than 2 tenths behind Charles Leclerc. He's going to go for the outside.
Look to the yellow flag.
No, maybe he was just looking for the...
Maybe he was just trying to get out of the slipstream to kind of save his tyres. I'm not entirely sure what was going on.
Or potentially try and force Charles Leclerc into a mistake, maybe locking up, but...
And we also see Sergio Perez has got DRS on Carlos Sainz, even though it is, of course, still a yellow flag again. We're going to Perez, and...
Yeah, he is now catching Carlos Sainz.
Oh, he's fully caught, and once that yellow flag has gone, there we go. Speak of the devil. Green flag, and Perez is trying to make the move, but Carlos Sainz closes the door on him.
Yeah, great defense from Carlos Sainz, but Perez is still pressuring that Ferrari, and I don't know how long Carlos is going to be able to hold up.
I don't know either. The intense fight for first place. Sergio Perez is trying his hardest, and behind him is teammate Charles Leclerc. The Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Oh, Sergio Perez goes ahead and got the inside.
Yeah, Perez, going ahead of Carlos Sainz, and actually Charles Leclerc's caught up a little bit to the two of them.
Yeah, as I was saying, that scrap made Carlos Sainz's teammate Charles Leclerc catch up, which gives him the DRS, which I believe will be crucial for his defensive Max Verstappen.
Yeah, he is now within half a second of his teammate. I'm wondering if he'll try and push past him so he can chase after Sergio Perez, who now leads this race.
Yes, I mean this is going down to the wire between all 4 cars, all who are vying for the podium positions. Currently, Sergio Perez in the lead, Carlos Sainz second, Leclerc, Verstappen in fourth, all fighting
for that win. Yeah,
for the win.
And actually, George Russell only 1 second behind them now.
Yeah, I mean George Russell could be in contention for this, and I think George Russell's performance has been great this season, don't you agree?
Yeah, you know, just joining Mercedes, he's already put up a fight against Lewis Hamilton, and you know, still actually ahead of him in several races this year. Russell's been putting some incredible performances.
I mean, he's currently P4 in the championship, ahead of his teammate Lewis Hamilton, which is way better than anyone was expecting. If you don't agree.
Yeah, Hamilton, you know, only scoring 10 points in the last 2 races.
Oh, here we have Charles Leclerc fighting his teammate. Going down the inside, will Verstappen also capitalize on this? Oh, he won't, but will Charles Leclerc stick the move? Oh, it goes into another corner, and they still remain side by side. Charles Leclerc in the lead, Carlos Sainz behind him, Max Verstappen going down the outside, looking down there, but Russell coming in with is it a double overtake? Oh, he only managed to make one stick. He keeps Max Verstappen behind them. This is amazing by George Russell. He's going for Carlos Sainz, hunting him down. Charles Leclerc overtaking him and kind of putting Carlos Sainz on the back foot.
Yeah, I think he's kind of left his teammate in the dust there. I think he's kind of mad that he's lost all that time in the midfield and in the pits, and he's going to try and see if he can try and catch it back up to Sergio Perez. And George Russell going for a move around the inside and the outside of Carlos Sainz into P3, into the podium positions.
This is absolutely amazing. George Russell was 1 second down only a few laps ago, but the squabbling between the Ferraris and the Red Bulls have let him take that podium position.
Yeah, as I just said, as I was just saying before, George Russell, and he was in P5, he could be in contention for a podium, and look what he's done. He's now in P3.
This is absolutely amazing driving by George Russell. I think the fighting between the Mercedes, the Ferrari and the Red Bull has just left them open. Oh, and here we have Max Verstappen on Carlos Sainz. Going down the inside is Max Verstappen, and he stays ahead. That is the driving class of Max Verstappen. Keeping that even before the turn, fully ahead of Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz's race from P1, 4 seconds ahead of Perez, down to P5. That can't be good for Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, I think that's Ferrari's tyre wear finally kicking in. And Charles Leclerc, even though he's on that harder compounded tyre, he'll have a lot less wear on those tyres. He's losing time to Perez, and Sainz, he was first, now fifth. He's
Here we see Lewis Hamilton looking down the inside, trying to make the move down the inside of Carlos Sainz, and then on the outside of turn 2, will he make it? He's got better traction, and he managed to head with DRS.
And will Lando Norris now try and go around the outside of Carlos Sainz? He's still going around the outside, trying to make the move stick, and I think he will, yes! Carlos Sainz down to P7! Lando Norris through.
This is totally unpredictable how has Carlos Sainz dropped so many positions?
This has got to be you just look at the tyres.
Alonso right on his tail. This is not great.
Yeah, you just look at the tyres. You're seeing graining all over them.
Oh, here we go. Fernando Alonso down the inside of Carlos Sainz, and he manages to get ahead. This is Ferrari. I wonder if there is an engine issue.
I'm thinking it's just tyre wear. It's got to be some pretty bad tyre wear, but that's what I'm betting on. Yeah, and here we see Sergio Perez just rounding the last couple of corners, coming out of absolutely nowhere, but finally he comes round the final corner to take the checkered flag and win the Australian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc comes home to take second place.
Oh guys, this is us! Come on! Vamos! Well done, guys!
Oh yeah.
And that's George Russell making that podium position. Like I said, he had the potential to do it, and he's done it. And that's Red Bull winning a race again.
This is Sergio Perez's first win for Red Bull, and this is just great for him. Absolutely amazing. I mean, he will be absolutely chuffed to bits.
Yeah, I think Leclerc did have the he did have the potential to win that race. You know, he was on the pace of the Red Bulls and of his teammate Carlos Sainz, but I think just being put on those hard tyres really just screwed his strategy.
Yeah, I mean, at first glance, it seemed like a maybe viable strategy with Carlos Sainz going way ahead. It just didn't work out for them.
Yeah, I think if they just looked after their tyres a bit more, they could have sealed this one too quite easily.
Yeah, and here we see Sergio Perez, the Minister of Defence, taking first place in the Australian Grand Prix.
Yes, and what a race for Sergio Perez.
What a race for Sergio Perez indeed.
I'm sure he's happy with that result. And I'm sure George Russell, second podium in a row, I'm sure he's happy with that result as well.
I'm sure he's happy. That gives Sergio Perez 25 points in the driver's standings, Charles Leclerc in second, George Russell in third, Max Verstappen in fourth, and Lewis Hamilton in fifth. Then we got Norris, Alonso, Sainz in eighth, a disappointing race for him, and Kevin Magnussen in ninth, Daniel Ricciardo rounding up the top 10.
Yeah, dismal race for Carlos Sainz. I'm sure he's got to be upset with that result.
I mean, he must be questioning the Ferrari engine all the way. I'm a stern believer that there was a Ferrari engine.
Yeah, and now that's Sergio Perez, those points, putting him into the lead of the Drivers' Championship, and George Russell going ahead of both Ferraris, going into third in the championship.
That is great for George Russell and great for Mercedes. I mean, he has been very consistent this year.
Yeah, and Red Bull already pretty much at the 150-point barrier there, 144 points, pretty much doubling what Ferrari has.
That doesn't bode well for Ferrari or Mercedes or any other really other teams. I mean, Red Bull, it just seemed to be dominated.
Yeah, they just seem to just have these regulations completely figured out. And Adrian Newey, just incredible engineering. Now, thank you everyone for tuning in to the Australian Grand Prix. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, and we'll see you all very soon.